start with the contents of a Commonplace binder. So this is Commonplace Binder 101. We're on the 25th video, so we are a quarter of the way done. We're a quarter of the way there, a quarter of the way done. Let's get on with it. The contents of a Commonplace binder. What the heck is in this? Or something like this. Now, I showed this, I believe, in the thumbnail. And this is the contents page. And I guess, you know, show a little bit. But if you want to see more about that, you will have to check out another video. This one is mostly on theory, and I will be talking if I can figure out how to adjust this with one hand. There we go. Okay, I'm going to set that down now after I put everything away. There we go. So, start with the contents, fill in the blanks. So what are you going to do with a Commonplace binder? Well, you're going to fill it in. You need pages, and you put the pages in, you write some stuff on the pages. Congrats, you have stuff. Now, what do you do with the stuff? What kind of stuff is it? We'll get to that later, but yeah. Start with the contents. At the very beginning, you need a page in front of all the other pages that says what all the stuff is. Now, if you have a contents page that says stuff, and then everything behind it is just in one category called stuff, that's fine. It's kind of not fine, but it's a lot better than nothing. Because at least in the future, you will be able to add more. So it's not doing the good thing, but it's giving yourself space to actually get the thing done in the future when you want to. Fill in the blanks. When you go through the contents page, you can just kind of fill in the blanks because you don't really have to worry about making a new system, figuring out exactly how it works. You're just like, this is my Commonplace book, which is a Commonplace binder, and there's not a lot of distinction there. But you are going to want to add the month and year. So this goes in the contents page, this goes at the top of each page. This also goes on the tabs that you attach to each page. So this way, the page says what it is. The top of the page has a tab, so you can easily, you know, page through, figure out exactly where you're going. And then the contents page includes the month and year along with the subject. So for example, if it was contents, that goes at the very beginning, and then everything behind that is its own individual section. So you might have start with the contents as a category. And this might be January 2025. And then this one might be February 2025. And then this one, you know, March 2025. Except before that, we would have month and year, March, or March 2025, month and year. Now, it's a little confusing to choose month and year. So let's go with something over here. So it would be like January 2025 sharing as a category. And so that's nice and short. And the month and year is also pretty short. So if you put the month and year and the subject, you can pretty easily find what you're looking for. Low-level edits. So the type of edit that I will add to this video is going to be very minimal. I'm probably just going to cut little bits out, probably part of the mishap at the beginning. But if you have a binder, you don't really need to do giant crazy edits because you can just pick your thing up, decide, oh, I don't like one of these sections. You find it up here, cross it out, take it out, and you're done. Like, you don't need to get an entirely new notebook, and that's one reason why I prefer the binder. There's also the fact that there are no page numbers, which means there's no index as well, and there's just a contents page, which is quite nice. But, yeah. We want to get on to the bright ideas. If we have to figure out exactly where everything goes, if we're like, okay, I might need 3 pages for my index, I'm probably going to use 2 pages for this thing, I probably want an introduction at some point, I need to like plan all this stuff out ahead of time. Like with a binder, you don't have to plan it, you just do it. So you have time and space for your bright ideas because you don't know how much space you're going to need, so you can just write, which is great. Affordable quality. So as far as I can tell, it's usually better to buy multiple rather than one singular binder at a time. So if you just get them in like a pack, they'll probably be cheaper because, you know, ordering or buying in bulk generally seems to be better than buying the individual item if you know you're going to use multiple. So maybe at first you'll just get one thing, and then in the future you will get more than that. But, it's pretty affordable because all you need is the paper and the binder and, maybe some tabs if you feel like having them. You probably have a binder that has rings. You might have one that doesn't, in which case you can just slide stuff in, which is quite nice. But if you need to hole punch it, because they're rings, then you will obviously need a hole puncher. There are a whole bunch of other related things which are not really what I want to get into today. Handwritten quotes. Now, these are in pretty much every person's Commonplace, whatever they want to call it. They might call it a Commonplace binder or Commonplace codex. I don't know. But the point is, normally people handwrite stuff, and normally people add quotes. Error-free. That is not what this will be. This will have some errors, unless you're doing a digital version. But that will probably also have errors. Even if there are no errors, this will eventually become out of date unless you have the most advanced thoughts in your mind and you transfer them to the page, and none of the things happen to change over time. Not the language used, not the way the world works, nothing. There are no errors, of course. No, there will be errors, and that's okay. At least you will know that they are there, because sometimes people see something online and they'll get complacent, but if you're making your own book, essentially, you're probably going to think about it and be like, yeah, I probably messed up somewhere. Not necessarily everywhere. But how do I know where I messed up? That's where creating indicators becomes pretty important. So part of the benefit of having a month and a year shown or represented is that I know what I haven't worked on in a very long time, because it'll say something like, March of 2024. And it's like, wow, that was a long time ago. I should probably update that. And so when I update it, I don't necessarily need to update everything, but I do need to update it at least a little bit. So I'll read through it, I'll figure out what's going on, and sometimes I'll just put it back in. And that's a little sloppy, and that's technically not recommended. However, part of this is about not burning out, and one of the ways that I burn out is by having to grind on every single item. So anywhere I can save time is a place I will save time. And I really like to focus on reducing worry. So one of the things I worry about is the burnout. And the easiest way to burn out is to do the things I don't like. Do the things that I don't like, that aren't working, and take a long time, and are just otherwise unpleasant. So you actually want to do the opposite of that, obviously. Do the things that are working, do the things that you enjoy, do the things that will provide some benefit. There's some other ways of reducing worry, of course. Like, one thing I used to do is I would write down stuff before I went to sleep, and then I wouldn't be stuck laying in my bed for hours thinking about it. That was quite nice. And now I go to sleep within 10 minutes, most of the time. Every so often there is a disruption. And, if there are people shouting, for example, it's kind of hard to fall asleep. Sharing. Yeah, thought I took that off. Whoops. So do you need to, share the contents of your binder? No. No, unless this is like a school assignment, you don't need to share it. It's like, why would you be required to share all of your personal stuff? Like, if it's quotes, some people might not like who you quoted, and that's fine, because they're for you. Like, they're not for them. It's not their business. If it's recipes, maybe you want to keep your recipe secret. I don't know. Like, you can share. You don't have to share. But if you do want to share, it's a lot easier to make this digital rather than physical. That's just how that works. Completed. This will not be completed. So just like how it won't be error-free, it's not ever going to be finished. So the way that you do this, you could technically have like an artificial definitive version or something. but it's not going to be completed. So what you could do, I guess, is consolidate everything into 1 year and then make another binder for the year after that. And whenever you go back to the older ones, you shrink them down over and over again, over and over and over again. And so that information gets really, really dense and really important and really relevant. But other than doing that, I'm not really sure what you can do, because it's not going to be completed. Like, you can complete a video, but like, you're not going to be able to, it's never going to be perfectly done. Like, there's always something I could do better. I could be at the perfect point in the frame. I could have my voice say something more accurate. It could be that my voice fluctuates a whole bunch when I'm doing weird stuff. Like, you can always make it better. So it's never completed, and because it's your own personal thing and there's no need to publish it, it'll just go. Standard, just like it's your own personal thing, it's not very standard. Now, if you do have a contents page and you don't have really anything too crazy, and you use the tabs, and you can create your own sort of standardization. The Commonplace binder is my standardized version. However, these things change over time. So it might be I want to spend all my time on the computer in the future, or it might be I never want to use the computer, or maybe my phone or a tablet, or it can really be whatever. And you don't necessarily have to like eliminate everything from before. Just sometimes you might need to transfer some stuff over, and that might be time consuming, it might be annoying, but whatever you transfer is probably going to be the most important stuff anyway. So in doing that, you're like doing a sorting process. First, pages. Now, when you have your first pages, and you're just like, oh, I have a contents page. That's nice. But you don't need to sort anything. So there might be bright ideas. Probably not, though. Maybe there's one. But yeah, if you have one good idea per page, and you have like 100 or 200 pages, that's fantastic. And so over time, if you shrink everything down, say you write 1,000 pages, maybe there are 100 good ideas in there. Maybe 1 out of every 10 pages has something good. And then, you just shrink it down again, and it goes from 100 to 10. And, maybe the ideas weren't actually that good, and they were just kind of medium. But then you made them really good, because you turned, like, it's a totally made-up story, but if you had, like, the 100, and then you turn it into the 10, and, like, eventually you'll get to one good thing. And that's great. Inherent value. The contents will have inherent value to you, probably, or me, I guess, if it's mine. But like, other than that, you're throwing stuff in. So like, maybe it has inherent value. Maybe paper is going to be the new currency. I don't know about that. But whatever you do, you gotta start. So I would recommend starting with the contents page. The actual contents behind the contents page can vary wildly. You could have it all about Pikachu. It doesn't matter. You could be like, it's yellow, it's all Pikachu. Look. You gotta look at it. So even if it is totally error-free, and it's completed, and it has inherent value, and it has bright ideas, and you have everything sorted by time, and you gotta look at it. Why are you making it if you're not looking at it? You might just be journaling, and that's okay. It's a little weird to call it commonplace if you're just journaling, but if you're just journaling, that's fine. Like, you don't have to do this. It's just commonplacing. Like, it's just your common place to put stuff, and then look at it later and do something with it. So you could define it a whole bunch of different ways. I guess you could just make it a journal. I guess you could just put some bright ideas in there. I don't know. It really depends on what you want to do with it. Now, for this last thing, school, that is a little different. And that's based on the next video on how schools should use information. Now, part of the problem is, if this sort of thing is implemented in a school setting, if you're in like middle school or something, the kids are not going to be nice about it. Now, if they're kindergartners, they're probably going to be nice about it, but how many kindergartners have the ability to make their own book? Or let's just say even carry this. How many kindergartners can carry this around without dropping it? Without spilling anything on it? Without, like, it's always going to be a challenge. Yeah, so in the next one, I might talk about how schools should probably let people use more of their notes rather than just going into everything blind. Saying, oh yeah, everyone with declining attention spans needs to memorize everything, and that's the only goal, because that will prepare them for the future in which they have no access to technology like phones or computers or charts or anything else that they might happen to carry with them. They would never have anything. Of course not. So, it might be that I'm arguing that people should be able to carry some notes with them, and if we have a standardized system with like a contents section and, we have binders we can get in bulk, it'll be cheaper for everybody. Like, maybe it doesn't have to be hard for no reason. Just like commonplacing is not really in arcane art, it's not like the secret magic of the universe. It's just you're doing some fancy journaling, and back in the time when nobody had journals and basically nobody could read or write, it was a great mystery. But now it's just like, seen Notion or Pinterest or Evernote or whatever else. But yeah, thanks for watching. This was the first of the set, so it's a little awkward, but maybe you found the awkwardness enjoyable. And so I don't have an outro. Goodbye.